Scientists working for manufacturers are constantly trying to find the perfect combination of these tempting ingredients. We talk to a man who knows the industry inside and out and reveals the strategies deployed by the food giants.
Those three ingredients are so powerful. Salt, they call it the flavor burst because typically it's on the surface of chips, on snacks. It's the first thing that touches the tongue. They love fats as well because those are what they call the mouthfeel, the sensation of biting into a warm toasted cheese sandwich. And then probably the most powerful of the three for many people is sugar. Just by basic instinct. And so the industry has engineered what they call the bliss point for the perfect amount of sugar in products, not too little, not too much, working on maximizing the allure of their products.
The investigative journalist spent years researching for his best-selling book on the food industry and the manufacturing of processed foods.
I resisted calling their products addictive because it seemed crazy to me to compare Oreo cookies with heroin. It just seemed ludicrous. But I have to say that several things completely changed my mind, and I'm now convinced that in some ways these food products are even more problematic for us than tobacco, alcohol, even some kinds of drugs.
It's no longer a secret that these highly processed products are directly linked to the global obesity epidemic. Carole is a patient at the obesity clinic of the University Hospital in Lausanne. 2 years ago, her obesity almost killed her. She was barely able to move or even breathe. She's recently undergone gastric bypass surgery, which drastically reduced the size of her stomach.
Voilà, je vous en prie, je vous laisse passer.
Carole's come to the clinic today to see an endocrinologist and a psychiatrist. She's already shed 35 kilos, but has a lot of things to relearn, such as the sensation of feeling hungry or full. She also has to learn self-respect again. She's got a long road ahead of her.
How have you been?
I don't feel like there's been a change or I've lost any weight. In the mirror, I can't see any difference. I do see it in the clothes, though. The shirt I'm wearing used to be too small for me. And there are some pants that were too small that I can wear again, and others that are now too big.
The multidisciplinary department at Lausanne University Hospital has around 1,500 overweight patients on its books. Carole is one of the 220 who suffer from obesity. But what we might not expect is the world's largest food manufacturer admitting the same. In 2021, Nestlé came under fire after details from an internal presentation were published by the Financial Times. The document showed the company acknowledging that the majority of its products were unhealthy. Over 60% did not meet a recognized definition of health. The data did not include coffee, baby formulas, or food for specific medical conditions. The presentation was intended for company executives as a basis for revising their corporate strategy. And the multinational's response to the revelation?
Was it a shock to learn that far more products than expected were below this threshold for unhealthy foods?
Once we realized this, we knew we had to do something. We want to determine which products we should keep, which ones we discard, and which ones we could reformulate.
And this is a policy that you're following because there is a real awareness that a lot of your foods are unhealthy? or because you need to keep selling products to stay number one in the world.
Je pense que c'est d'être là pour le consommateur là où il est présentement.
We want to be there for consumers and be where they are. With COVID, there's been a growing concern about health and immunity and about sugar intake. People are now more aware of the need to reduce their consumption. We want to accompany people on that journey to eat better and stay healthy.
Nestlé has already removed a number of product lines from its portfolio, such as sausage products. But why didn't the Swiss multinational and other food giants change course sooner? Minneapolis, USA, the 8th of April, 1999. A secret meeting brought together the CEOs of the country's 8 biggest food companies, among them Nestlé USA. On the agenda, their role in one of the most serious public health epidemics ever seen in the US, rising overweight and obesity rates.
There's growing concern about their culpability of their products to weight gain, to diabetes, to even several types of cancer. And they get together, and one of them, a gentleman named Michael Mudd, who's an executive vice president of Kraft, one of the biggest companies of all, introduces the crowd and gets up and explains the situation.
We cannot pretend food isn't part of the obesity problem. No credible expert will attribute the rise in obesity solely to decreased physical activity. The one thing we shouldn't do is nothing.
As you can imagine, he was not well received by the heads of the company. And one of the company executives gets up and he's kind of visibly angry, and he goes, look, there's no way, he says, that we're going to mess around with the company jewels, referring to their powerful ingredients like salt, sugar, fat, if that's going to diminish the allure, the attractiveness of the sales.
The corporations saw no reason or incentive to change anything. The meeting ended abruptly, illustrating their lack of interest. There was seemingly no stopping the obesity epidemic, as shown by the growing amount of red on this map. Weight gain is rapidly increasing worldwide. The darker the shades of red, the higher the rates of obesity. Countless experiments have been conducted on people losing control when consuming particular substances. This rat is quick to learn that pressing a pedal will reward it with a dose of sugar, which it then eats frantically. A similar experiment showed that rats prefer consuming sugar to cocaine.
The power of sugar is far more important than previously thought, as was confirmed by this experiment.
Bonniemont Boutrel heads the Neurological Research Unit for Addictive and Eating Disorders at Lausanne University Hospital. His area of focus is the mechanism behind addiction and loss of control.
Les adaptations que l'on peut mettre en évidence dans le cerveau d'une
We see
personne
changes in the brain of someone who cannot control their intake of fatty and sugary foods.
sont tout à fait comparables aux adaptations
And they're comparable to those seen with excessive and uncontrolled consumption of alcohol, cocaine or tobacco.
d'alcool, de cocaïne ou même de tabac. On peut assez
We can
légitimement
draw a parallel between the agri-food industry and the tobacco industry
l'agroalimentaire et
in
l'industrie.
terms of the way they've optimized their products
Ils ont optimisé leurs produits, modifié
and how they've changed the very nature of their product. In this case, ultra-processing. Tobacco companies add texturizers and flavors to optimize the nicotine efficacy. The objective in both cases is to retain their consumers and increase sales.
voire peut-être d'accroître leur part de marché.
What about Nestlé, the world's biggest food corporation? Is it targeting people prone to excessive eating? And why does the company continue marketing products that it has itself called unhealthy? During a 1-hour interview, we repeatedly asked questions like these and were given almost always the same answer.
D'abord, chez Nestlé, ce qu'on aime, c'est d'aider.
Nestle wants to help people to eat well, which means finding the right balance between enjoyment and health.
La santé. La philosophie de Nestlé, comme
Nestle's philosophy is to help consumers eat well, combining enjoyment with a balanced diet and sound health.
Et la santé. Et c'est pourquoi une compagnie comme
And that's why Nestle offers both a range of affordable and nutritious products and gourmet products that should be consumed in moderation.
Qui doivent être consommés en modération.
Mais ça, c'est vous qui le dites ici, on sait dans les faits.
But it's known in practice that some of your consumers are heavy users, people who eat excessively.
On appelle heavy users, des consommateurs excessifs.
Aren't these consumers essentially addicted to your products?
Accro à vos produits.
Pour nous, en fait,
That's why we've been introducing educational programs. So,
Mais vous pensez qu'ils vont être
do you think they're addicted?
accro? Non, je crois pas.
addicted? No, I don't think so. Not to Nestle products, at least. Our products are not developed with that in mind. We develop our products to fit a balanced and healthy diet.
Une alimentation saine et équilibrée.
Each manufacturer has its own strategy for seducing our appetites. Michael Moss has no doubt that the most vulnerable consumers are key to the food giant's market success.
In the sense of defining the word addiction as being kind of this repetitive behavior that some people find difficult to quit, I think that absolutely defines the business model of the processed food industry. Spending every waking hour engineering and marketing their products in a way that causes us not just to love them, but to want more and more.
And chief among those interests is protecting children. Nathalie Farpor-Lambert is a pediatrician who spent decades counseling overweight minors, helping them in their struggle toward a healthier diet.
Auparavant, on avait peut-être des enfants qui avaient
In the past, we used to have children who were slightly overweight in relation to their age and height. But today, we have children who are massively overweight, by 20 or 30 kilos or more. What upsets me the most is the fact that children are being manipulated.
On manipule les enfants.
They are victims of this food system. They can't help it. Often we blame the parents for making the wrong choices and buying unhealthy products. But it's extremely difficult for them to make the right choice. The labeling isn't always clear to everyone. We're violating the human rights of children. And you have to ask how far things will go. Are we willing to sacrifice 1 or even 2 generations?
On sera prêt à sacrifier une génération, voire 2.
For years now, I've been unable to look strangers in the eye. I've suffered so much from the mocking and the insults that I've retreated into my own bubble. Sometimes I don't even think of myself as a person. I'm just this ugly thing.
What if you didn't have your children?
I'd have let myself go completely and would have been dead years ago. I didn't love myself enough to find an escape. I only did it for my children because I love them and I want them to have a normal mother.